Well, now, do you anticipate, in addition to those Chicago kids, you signing one more player in the
probably
spring?
one. Yeah, yep.
Could it be junior college or could it be high school?
We're looking at both. We're looking at a select. We're really just looking at one JUCO kid, to tell you the truth. We're out there. We got to find the right one if we go that route. We have a high school kid. We have a couple foreign kids. You know, we really have not a lot of irons in the fire, but the irons in the fire we have are all hot.
All right, let me ask you some quick no hedgings before we go to our next break. Starting a franchise, every player in history is healthy and age 22 to ever play. Who would you take?
Jordan. That isn't even I would defy anyone that does take Jordan.
Bird or Magic for 10 years? Who do you take?
Point guard position, a tough call, but I'd take Magic because you know, he makes everybody else better. So does Bird and scores. That is like even Rachel. Rachel just had this bated long sigh breath. I don't think it was, you know, because I'm looking very handsome here. I think she was. That's a hard call, but I wouldn't back off of Magic because, and I asked Nelly that too, and Jerry Sloan that question, and both of them said Magic without hesitation, because the point guard position, you know, is so valuable, and he had the unique ability to. It wasn't that he mismatched you in the post when they post him up. It's that he passed over you and he could see over you. It's like having those quarterbacks that are great, you know,
6'5",
big physical specimens, and they can see the whole play.
Kareem, Russell, or Chamberlain for 10 years?
That's the toughest one of all. I'm going to go with the old school Russell with the winner, but you gotta love Kareem. You gotta never go with Chamberlain.
Kobe or LeBron now?
Oh, I'm all about Kobe. He defends. LeBron, you know, you give him a gun and a badge and he won't defend.
You're an athletic director. You can hire any coach in history to run your college basketball program for 10 years.
Noel, the great Pete Noel, the Cal coach who quit all too young.
Who actually did well against Wooden.
Yeah, did very well against Wooden. And then Noel, you know, it got to the point where, like, you know, like yesterday with the 8 o'clock start, I used to have those 10 o'clock starts. You know, you get that watermelon in your stomach, and I got a big watermelon in mine. And it starts about 8 in the morning, and you know, Noel just walked away at the top of it, as did Eric Parsesian. Because, you know something, you compete against yourself. You know.
Your favorite all-time player?
Stockton.
Your favorite all-time player that you coached?
That I coached?
Yeah.
Al Jensen, the guy on my staff.
Really? More than
one night we were out with the great Don Haskins, the architect of the UTEP Texas Western team that won the national championship in '66, and the subject of the film what was it called, that championship season?
What was it called? Glory
Road.
Glory Road.
Great book by a guy named Wenzel. Want to get a good book and read it? Read Glory Road. And want to see a great movie with your family? See Glory Road. Haskins has a cameo in it, pumping gas at a gas station.
That's right.
Don and I were great friends. He used to take me out coyote hunting. I'm not even a hunter. He used to laugh at me because I wanted to kill an animal. But we went to Juarez. I mean, we had some great times together. But one night Haskins is out with a great friend of mine. She's coming out next week, one of my first secretaries at Utah, Judy Christensen, and she used to love, Don always drank White Russians, like the guy in the Big Lebowski. What was it called? The Dude. Yeah, so Don would drink these White Russians, and I'd drink these other wussy drinks. You know, I'd have a fuzzy navel or something. We'd be sitting there having a steak. The guy used to always at the steakhouse say, "At least you're having a manly meal." And then, you know, he'd say to me, what do you think about your team? I said, I love Al Jensen. He says, it's Mueller, he said. He used to try to talk a little bit with a Mexican accent. He said, Andre Mueller. He says, I know you love Al, but he says, you give me that Mueller, and he says, I'll be in the Final Four just like you were. And, you know, so I would say Al because, and Cassie reminds me a lot of Al. And I hope that Cassie can grow into Al, but either it would be Al because he came from so far back in the pack, but Miller would be, if Al is 1, Miller would be 1A.
All right, and final thought before we end this segment. If you had to have one coach, high school, college, or pro, diagram a play to save the country.
Jim Cruz. Just got fired at Army.
Really?
I'm trying to get Cruz over. Cruz did a great job at Evansville. Cruz is like Don Nelson. Cruz has got a great analytical mind, and he's got chutzpah The problem with Jimmy was when he was doing so well at Evansville, he was offered the Ohio State job. But Jim is the consummate family man, raised two great kids. I took Jim as my assistant in the World Games for the 19 and under World Championship in '96, and he was great. Then he went over. Then he got fired at Evansville, which was really a travesty of a sham. Then he went to Army and did a great job, and then this year he got fired. But you try getting guys in Army. Listen, a lot of people don't realize Krzyzewski's last two for sure, and possibly 3 years at Army, he had a losing record. Do you know Gaudio got killed at Army, the Wake Forest coach? I mean, a lot of times people look at, and certainly there's a lot of really good coaches. I'd say Don Nelson, but I'm going to tell you something. Cruz was a great coach and did a great job, and would be my pick if I could have somebody next to me. And I love Porter. I got a great assistant now. I got a great staff now. Coach Harry, Coach Al, Coach Tony. Those guys, Matt, they do a phenomenal job. But I'll say this: Cruz is special.